the IEC's Sai Mamabolo and Masego Shiburi giving us an update there on exactly what's happening around the country. Aldrin Sampear is my colleague on the ground. He's been tracking events on the floor of the Results Operations Centre for us throughout the afternoon. And I understand what he's going to try and do now is try and get a one-on-one with an IEC official. Shahan, do you have a view of him from your vantage point?
Yeah, I do actually see him. He's walking forward. Aldrin, take it over. Aldrin, of course, you're making your way to officials. They haven't really answered some of our questions regarding ballot papers not being delivered, regarding what else is going wrong across the country. Maybe you can get those answers now.
Just busy speaking to other journalists. Here's an important issue that has been raised, and it is around the indelible ink, which is supposed not to immediately be able to be removed from your fingertips. But as you heard during the press briefing, that one of the questions that came was relating to the ability to actually remove that. And remember that that's one of the security measures that the other measure that the IEC says has been put in place is the voters' roll, that the names on the voters' roll get scratched out. But here's the thing, though, because it is a general election, the voters' roll, your name on the voters' roll may be scratched out at one polling station, but you can go to another polling station, for instance, and go and cast your ballot there. At that particular polling station, your name wouldn't have been scratched out. And if you've been able to remove your ink, that means that you are able to vote twice. So we're going to try and see whether we can get some sort of explanation from the IEC, what measures they have been putting in place, and at least do they take responsibility that they have failed when it comes to ensuring that the ink that is used at these various polling stations are not removed easily. Let's just quickly see whether we can try and pop in that question from
Mr. Mamabolo was because the presiding officer at one of the stations said she was expecting more than 20,000 people to come and cast their vote. Yet you tell
it's not factual. There's no station. There's no such a big station.
But that's
the average number of voters in a metro municipality is between 3.6 to about 6,000. The odd station out is Juvet Park in Johannesburg with in excess of 12,000 voters. She may expect 20,000 because there's a possibility for people to vote in other stations using Section 24A. But again, even the zip-zip is not mission critical for an election. You do not need a zip-zip to run an election process because persons vote because their name appears on the voters' roll.
Commissioner, just quickly on this issue around the indelible ink that people are able to remove. Did the Commission drop the ball here?
No. The indelible ink contains nitric acid, which is a constituent part of helping with the indelibility of the ink. We've increased the concentrate from 15% that we used last election to 20% this election. You can't go higher than that without causing harm to people's health.
But why is it that people have been able to remove the ink?
If people are determined enough, I suppose they'll make measures to remove the ink. I voted on Monday and I've washed every day, I promise you, but the ink is still on my finger. Similarly, I can see that you still have...
Yeah, the ink is still on my finger, but other people have been able to remove the ink, as you heard earlier on as well. Does this not compromise the integrity of this election if someone has the ability to cast a ballot at one polling station and then move over to the next polling station and also cast a ballot after having able to remove the ink?
Indelible ink is one in a number of other safety features for an election, like a voter's roll, like the national voters roll that we have on the zip-zip machine.
But you do agree that at one polling station on the voters roll you can scratch out a name because this is not an electronic system. You can scratch out a name at another polling station. There's also a voters roll there, but your name is not scratched out there.
And if a person does that, they make themselves open for a criminal offense, because that is a criminal offense to attempt or even to vote more than you are entitled to vote.
So the possibility is there that the election results could be compromised by this?
There are safety measures to ensure the credibility of an election.
But you do admit that those safety measures are not good enough?
An ink is one among the number of safety measures in an election.
But you do agree that it's not good enough?
An indelible,
Can we agree on that it's not good enough?
an indelible ink is one in the measure of safety measures within an election process.
One of two, we've just said that you can move from one polling station to the next polling station and still be able to cast your ballot because we don't have an electronic system.
And thereby open yourself for criminal prosecution and risk a fine or a period of imprisonment of not more than 10 years.
How would you even be able to prove that somebody has voted twice?
It's quite easy, actually.
How do you do it?
If I give you that, then I must...
Let's speak about it. How do you do it? Okay, well, there you have it from the Commissioner there speaking about the safety measures that have been put in place. But as I've said, and as I've mentioned to the Commissioner as well, is that once you are able to cast your ballot at one polling station, you can move on to a next polling station and also cast another ballot. If your name has been scratched out at another polling station, doesn't mean that your name is scratched out at that other polling station, because we don't have an electronic system when it comes to the voters' roll. So there is that issue that I guess the IEC would need to deal with, and probably this will be during the next election. There's certainly a security measure that needs to be dealt with.
All right, thanks.